Once you learn that, you can learn partial shapes. So you can learn arpeggios. So this is really the way to start learning the neck. Hey guys, Kieran Colton here, and today I wanted to talk about the CAGED system and my approach to teaching it, which is a little bit different, a little bit unconventional, but I think really helps in just simplifying things and making it a lot easier to get a handle of. So if you've been maybe getting into CAGED and it's not clicking, keep watching, and I guarantee by the end of the video, you'll see that it's actually pretty straightforward if you just adjust your approach slightly. And what I'm getting at here, the basis of this different approach is getting rid of the D shape. So if you know about the CAGED system, you know we're using 5 open chord shapes, C, A, G, E, and D, to map out the neck. But what I do is I get rid of the D shape because frankly, I think it's pretty redundant. I don't think you learn any more of the neck by learning the D shape. And it just sort of adds an extra layer of complexity, which can trip people up. So just keep it simple, and it will make everything a lot easier. So let's get into it. There's 2 steps that you need to take. Firstly, a crucial step is knowing the root notes on the E and the A string, okay? So your 2 low strings. Now, the reason that's so important because all of our chords, our arpeggios, our scales, are built from root notes on the E and A string, okay? So I've got a little graph up there that's going to tell you what the notes are, so you just need to memorize that. It's just, it's just a fundamental, it's crucial, okay? So once you've done that, let's get into the next step, which is learning these chord shapes. So let's take a note, okay? So let's take, for example, the note D. There's going to be 2 places where that D falls on the neck, on the E and the A string, and I'm just talking in between the 1st and the 12th fret for now, okay? So on the E string, a D is going to be on this 10th fret here. And on the A string, it's going to be on the 5th fret. Great. Now, they're the same note, but just 2 different places for those notes. Now, if we go back up to this 10th fret D, and we play the standard bar chord shape for a D major, we get this. Right, now what I'm going to do, bear with me, I'm going to grab my capo, and for that shape, I'm going to replace where my first finger was with a capo. So I'm going to put a capo on the 10th fret here, right? And I'm going to keep my other fingers where they are. And if I play that chord, what I get is I get the same shape that I'd be playing if I played an E major chord over here in first position. So what we're going to do, we're going to call that a E shape, okay? Even though we're starting from this note here, which is a D note, we're playing a D chord, but it's in the shape of an E. That can be a little bit tricky to get your head around, but that's where it comes from. Use the capo to help you visualize that. You're playing a D chord, but it's an E shape. Okay, now the rule with this approach that I'm telling you is if you learn something up the neck, you also need to learn a shape down the neck as well. So let's do the shape down the neck. We're starting from this D note here, same note, and we're going to play this shape. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. Grab a capo. I'm going to put it where my first finger was, so on the 7th fret. Keep the other fingers where they are. And what do you get? You get a G shape. So that would be what a G chord looks like in open position. So that's what we call a G shape, right? Take my finger off. So that's a G shape. Okay, so there are 2 shapes built from the D note on the E string. Now let's go to the D note on the A string. If you play your standard bar chord shape, you have that. Grab the capo. where my index finger is, and we get what looks like an A shape, an A major chord, but now with the capo on, we're up here. So that shape, that bar chord shape that we know, is going to be called an A shape. Still a D chord because we're building it from a D root note. Okay, now that rule, if you learn something up the neck, you got to learn it down the neck. So we're going to learn this shape here. Capo, first finger, where the first finger is. And what do you get? You get a C shape, okay? So it's a D chord built from a D note, but it's a C shape. So if I take the capo off, cool. So right then we've learnt 4 shapes, okay? We've learnt an E shape, a G shape, an A shape, and a C shape. Now, so that's 4 out of the 5 shapes of the CAGED system. And I'll show you why I don't worry about the D, because the D would be here. That would be the D shape, okay? But if I take that C shape that we just learnt, if I move that up the octave, so the top structure of that shape, that's already where the D shape is. So it's like you're crossing over. They're overlapping, right? Those 2 shapes. So you're not really learning any more of the neck by learning the D shape. All it's doing is you're just adding an extra string where you have to know the root note from, and I just don't see the point. Okay, if you disagree, maybe enlighten me in the comments. Okay, so there you have it. We've learned those 4 shapes, and then that gets us from all the way from the 2nd fret. We're covering the ground from the 2nd fret all the way up to the 12th fret, which is pretty much almost the entire neck, okay? And then we start the pattern again. There you go. And then once you learn that, you can learn partial shapes. So you can learn arpeggios. So this is really the way to start learning the neck. I find it a lot easier to just get your head around. It's pretty straightforward, as you can see. And we've taken all those chords starting from the note D, but you can also change the root note that you're starting from. If you're taking it, say for instance, from the note A, same thing. Learn the shape up the neck and down the neck. You've covered pretty much the entire neck, knowing an A chord as well. So really cool stuff. This will change your playing, knowing all these chord shapes. And part of this is also about, not all of these shapes are you learn them in terms of usability, just more visibility, right? So, for example, the G shape, I wouldn't really ever use that full shape, but I'd use parts of it, like this here. Cool. All right, so I hope that helps you. If you've been struggling with the CAGED system, I hope that clears things up, makes it a little bit easier, and I will see you in the next one.